Today I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic that's really important, a topic that is widely avoided, unfortunately, and also a topic where I didn't find the answers that I was looking for when I started searching. So what I want to talk about specifically is healing after a miscarriage. So whether that's a miscarriage or a missed miscarriage like I experienced, pretty much the same topic. And what I searched for online was, how long does it take to heal after miscarriage? Because that's what we want to know when we've experienced one. And it's not just so that we can know what to expect for our bodies and know whether we're right on track, this is healthy and normal, or we're ahead of the curve, yay, that's great news, or maybe we're delayed and there might be something of concern that we need to ask our doctors. So those are legitimate medical concerns, but at the same time, what if, like me, you want to have another child? Of course we know if we're not done healing afterwards, we're kind of sabotaging our chances of having the next pregnancy be successful and healthy. And that's the last thing we want to do. We want to give that next pregnancy every chance we can. So it's important to know, how long does it take to heal after a miscarriage, and why isn't this information available for us? I asked my doctor, I asked my midwife, and nobody could give me a definitive answer. And there's a reason why. Yes, it's individual for everybody. So, and in a way that makes sense. So for example, for all the people in the world who have ever broken their wrist, you're going to see this wide range of how long it took for them to fully heal, if they did fully heal. So the younger you are and the healthier you are, the faster you can expect healing. If you are really into nutrition and you take really good care of yourself, if you do the physical therapy you're supposed to and you avoid the activities you're not supposed to, you're going to heal faster. All of that makes sense. And those are things that we want to know about as women who have experienced a miscarriage. This shouldn't be a stigma. It shouldn't be hard to find this information. So I had some things I want to share with you that were helpful for me on my journey to know when I had fully healed, what to expect, and what to do to increase my chances of healing the best that I could. Now, one thing I do want to say before I talk any more about physical healing, which is super important, and I'm going to share with you how I did that, is emotionally, quite honestly, I do believe that you will never fully heal. They say that time heals all wounds, and that's just not completely true, because this is a loss. I mean, we had these hopes and dreams of that child, being able to see them face to face and for them to look back at us, to be able to do something that made them laugh, to see that sparkle in their eyes, and that hope is gone. So that's a real loss. And even if you're like me and you believe, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that child is waiting for you in heaven and you will see them someday, it's the loss of here and now. What you'd hope to have isn't there. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that that heals. I'm only several months into this journey, and I know probably when I'm 90, I'm still going to be thinking about this. And it's going to make me a little bit sad. So, yeah. And I want to address something else too for all the women out there that have experienced abortion. For the ones that are honest, they will tell you that they never heal from that emotionally either. So I know several, and so I can say this without a shadow of doubt, that the ones that are very honest about it feel that loss still. So when you lose a child, doesn't matter how old they were, doesn't matter how small they were, that loss is going to be with you for the rest of your life. If you have experienced this, I hope that you find somebody else who has had a similar experience, so that you have somebody to share with and talk about your feelings with, who really can relate with you and understand, and you can open up to each other and help each other get through the healing process as much as you are able to. and not be stuck emotionally in a point where it's not healthy for you. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk about physical healing and how we can speed this up as much as possible. And then I'm going to go over how you know when you've healed enough to be able to proceed into the next pregnancy if you want to, with the best chances possible. So first and foremost is nutrition, okay? So one thing that my midwife told me, and she reiterated every time we talked, she said, don't stop taking your prenatal. Now, at the time, she didn't know which prenatal I was taking. She did not know I was taking Shaklee Vitalizer, which is the best. So she didn't know that the one that I'm taking really, really, really works. She knew the importance of the nutrients that you need to have for a healthy pregnancy, and you want to use those as well to recover. One thing I want to say about that, when you're looking at a prenatal, you could have one that you've picked off the shelf, you could have one that's prescribed by your doctor, it doesn't matter. What you want is clinical proof published in medical journals. If they can't show that to you, you don't have something of quality in your hands. So that is the minimum that I ask for. I ask for a lot more proof that something actually works, but that's the minimum. I want to see the clinical trials proving that it actually works and is actually complete in a medical journal that's been published. So how I can explain this to you is if you have the right tools to affect healing in your body, because your cells need the right tools, it's kind of like a car. Let's say you've got a car, you want to maintain it. If anything happens to it, you want to be able to repair it. What happens if you go to your tool chest and there's nothing in there but a hammer? It's going to be really, really hard to maintain and to repair your car with just a hammer, if not impossible in some circumstances. Okay, so that's what happens when we have pretty poor nutrition and we just don't have the tools on board that we need, that our cells need, to be able to rebuild healthy cells after cells have been damaged. Okay, so let's say you go get a prenatal that is just not up to snuff. That would be like thinking you're filling your tool chest with all the tools needed, but what you did is you actually bought a children's plastic set. So now you've got all these plastic tools that you're trying to repair your car with, or your cells are trying to repair your other cells with. So you've got your little mechanics, your white blood cells, your red blood cells, etc. And they've got all these plastic tools that you think is complete because, hey, you've got your wrench and your screwdriver and all of those listed off, but they're not the type that you need for your car, your body. So you really want to have all the tools absolutely necessary to rebuild health, and you want to have effective tools, ones that your body can actually use and are efficient and are really, really going to do a good job. And a mechanic can tell you how important that is to have the full spectrum of tools and have good quality tools. We should know that that applies for our bodies as well. So please, please make sure that you have a high quality prenatal, that you stay on it. And if you have any questions, please ask me. That's what I'm here for. I am your health advocate. Secondly, hormones are really, really important and they play a key role. If your hormones are not balanced, you may not be able to get pregnant again, or you could have a bumpy road ahead of you. So you definitely want to do your best to balance your hormones. Now, two things on that. One that I know that worked super well for me is the Shaklee protein. And whether you choose to do soy or different plant-based, doesn't matter. They both work the same. They both have the clinical trials like I spoke about earlier. And how I know that this balances my hormones is, you know, when that time of month comes around, if you get super moody or you get a lot of cravings or your skin breaks out, I dealt with all of those. Horrible, horrible, well into adulthood. I'm fighting that in my 30s. Breakouts like crazy. And I work in a professional environment where people are seeing my skin. It was embarrassing and it really knocked down my self-esteem. When I started on this, my skin started clearing up, and I will be doing a video on my acne journey because I think that is so important for women to know about, because clear skin really, really does wonders for your self-esteem. And there's so many beautiful people out there suffering with acne who don't need to. So I know this has done great things for balancing my hormones. One thing that was mentioned over and over about from other women who were trying to recover naturally from miscarriage is the maca powder. And what's really fantastic about this root is it does taste good. You can mix it with chocolate and cinnamon and things like that. Tastes like a dessert. It balances hormones, and it does such a great job of balancing hormones that it works for both men and women. That was really surprising to me. So it recognizes what our individual bodies need, because obviously a male body needs completely different balance of hormones than a female's body, and it helps balance those out and get you where you need to be. So power pack right there. The third thing, again, is nutrition. I mean, let's face it, if you want your body to heal and you have your choice between an apple and a donut, which do you honestly think is going to speed up the healing process? I know, especially if we're grieving and we're not happy with the situation that we're in, a lot of people will reach for comfort foods, whether or not they're healthy. Please don't sabotage yourself. You will feel so much better, even emotionally as well as physically, if you make a conscious choice to put foods in your mouth that you know each and every time they're building health instead of tearing down your health. So take it from me, it makes a world of difference, especially in your mental outlook on each day. And who wants to be moping around or feeling like what they're doing just doesn't matter and the joy out of life has been drained? You don't want that. So make a conscious choice, invest in yourself as much as you can to build that health up, and you will feel better. So finally, how do you know that you're to the point where it's time to try again for a healthy pregnancy? Don't pay attention to the timelines that are on the internet for the ones that are trying to guess whether you've got women who say, oh, I got pregnant the very next month and it was a successful pregnancy. Yeah, I'm so happy for them, but that's not going to apply to everybody. That's going to apply to a small fraction. And then you have other women who have struggled for months, maybe even years, to have a successful pregnancy afterwards. So what was I looking for in myself? You want to make sure that your body's in a point where it is telling you that it is ready to nurture a baby inside of you. By the way, what I mean, this is for girls only. My mom described it to me like this when I very first started having my period, and I really appreciate the analogy that she gave me. She said, your womb, your uterus is like, think of it like a bed for the baby. Every month, if that bed is not used, your body gets rid of all the old bedding and gets brand new bedding in there. So it's nice and fresh and ready for the baby. So when that bedding comes out, does it look normal? Are you having normal cycles? Is it once a month? Is it for the period of time it needs to be? Between 3 to 5 days? Are you having irregularities? Is it lasting for a long time? Is it just little bits of spotting? Is it the wrong color, the wrong smell? It should be a vibrant red and not be excessive. You want to have a good, normal, healthy period. And that's when you know. And you know your own body. You know what is healthy. Were you healthy when you first came into this? Are you healthy now? Give yourself and your baby the very best chance of success by making sure that everything inside the uterus is ready to go. And it doesn't matter what type of miscarriage you've had. That's trauma to the body, and your body does need to heal. You'll notice it right afterwards that things do not look the way they would normally if you were just having a regular period, and you want to get to the point where things are normal. So I hope that makes sense. I hope this was really helpful to you. I wish that someone had told me these things in the very beginning so I knew what to look for. I knew to have hope that I can do this. This is an individual journey for each and every one of us. It's going to take a different amount of time for each and every one of us. Just knowing what I'm aiming for and knowing that there was hope would have really helped me, because it took a long time, in my opinion. It took a lot longer than I had hoped to get to that point, and I'm okay with that now. I realized that my body was taking the time that it needed, and I was giving it the very best that I could, the very best chance, and so it took as long as it took. I can't speed up that process or make my body do things any faster than I already was, so I knew I was on the right track, and I was just waiting for my body to give me confirmation that it was ready for another pregnancy and gave me the green light. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you do have any questions, I am here for you, so feel free to comment below. I read each and every one of those comments. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.